Welcome to our third episode.
Hi, guys.
Today, we're going to talk more about soft skills that are needed by a data scientist who wants to survive and do well in the world of business and industry. In our last episode, episode number 2, we've already discussed different roles in the value chain around data science, and we've quickly covered some of the soft skills, but we think it deserves its full episode. So that's what
Yep,
we're going to do today.
yep, definitely. So pretty much, in the last episode, we were talking about, our personal stories from Yasmin and me, how we got into the tech, how we got into the data science field specifically, and what like other roles in there because you can easily mix it up, right? And we covered a little bit of the soft skills, a little bit of the tech skills. And Yasmin said on the previous episode that it definitely has its own spot. And we should talk about this definitely like for like, kind of entire 30 or 45 minutes today. And yep,
So I think
yep.
let's start with like the most
Mm-hmm,
obvious one. I think which we also mentioned and covered a bit in last episode, which is
mm-hmm,
communication.
mm-hmm.
What does this mean for you? So why do you think that communication is one of the most important soft skills for a data scientist?
I would say that it's better to start in here with the story that I personally had. And it had happened, I wouldn't say quite recently, but in my journey as a data scientist. And unfortunately, I guess I'm not allowed to talk about people as well as the project itself and what had happened. But let's say that I had a new project to work on. And at the
Hmm.
first time, it seems to be very technical. I had to implement a lot of coding part to develop that further to optimize the algorithms in order to help the business side to use this later. But after 1 month, having constant meetings with the stakeholders, I understand that purely technical data science task converted into the pure communication task.
Okay.
Why, why it had happened? Because, and that we got right now into the field of kind of mystifying the data science field, that a lot of people, business people, are saying that the data science field is something magical, as we covered this in the previous kind of episode. And that is why they think that the data science field is capable of everything for every single person at every single point of time, which is not. And as a data scientist, you have to deliver that kind of insights and knowledge to them. And pretty much because of that part was missing on the business side, let's say that they wanted to have 100% of accuracy, which
Hmm.
is not even possible. You have to kind of upskill them and you have to communicate it with the business side in order to deliver the project, saying that, okay, guys, you already have to be totally happy with having 95% of the accuracy. And, so this is about the communications. When you pretty much put the business side into your side and let them understand the capabilities of the data science projects and tools they aim to have.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think this is completely in also part of the job description. Unfortunately, it's not like
mm-hmm,
literally part of the job description of data scientists. But I
mm-hmm,
feel that this really falls into your ballpark because I mean you are the one who knows what's possible and what's not. So what is feasible to achieve, right? And you need to give them somewhat like a lower and an upper range. And
mm-hmm,
in many applications, an upper range of 100% of whatever metric is just A, not
mm-hmm,
feasible, and B, also not needed.
mm-hmm. Yes, I completely agree with that. And honestly, what I also thought about is that um, the first part is communication, definitely. So you have to communicate with the stakeholders, and you have to communicate in the way that you're not using fancy, nice, huge mathematical formulas to make them feel, bad because they wouldn't understand this. Kind of, like to suppress them, sort of. But you have to use really simple language, and I guess this is apart from from the communication field, um, being able to explain things in the very simple way as a data scientist, like complex things, turn them into the simple things.
Yeah,
It's one of the major skills to have.
absolutely. And it needs
Yeah.
a lot of practice, right? Because you
Yeah.
just need to be exposed to these situations and also
Mm-hmm.
go out of your comfort zone and not just hang out with your data
Mm-hmm.
sciencey friends, but then really understand what kind of like prior knowledge level are you working with, and this could be different in a group
Mm-hmm.
of business colleagues, right? And some are maybe super interested and are
Mm-hmm.
easier to also convince and listen into your story. And I think that brings me to another one, because part of communication for me is also storytelling. And I think that is
Mm-hmm.
something that, like a good data scientist, I would expect, uh, yeah, her or him being able to be able to storytell with data. And I think that it's not enough just to throw your
Yeah.
results and maybe a bit of your process onto some slides, but I think you need to be able to create a like a, yeah, a
Like a
story that
story.
keeps the attention of the business colleagues, and also that really shows them what's in it for them, right? Because again, we're not
Mm-hmm.
doing data science because it's so fun, but
Yes.
we're doing data science because we want to help the business. And I
Uh-huh.
think that's the story that you need to tell with the data.
Yep, definitely. And also, what I like about that kind of point of view, what I've seen that not a lot of people can actually do the storytelling with
Hmm.
the data. Do you know maybe, or like maybe, do you have any kind of advice or like pieces of advice to the our new fellows, how it is better to start with the data storytelling?
Yeah, yeah. So if you heard this term like the first time, I think you
Yes.
should maybe like do a bit of research, because storytelling, of course, is it's not just something that is possible in the area of data science, but I mean it's like a really really nice skill to have for kind of
Mm-hmm.
any other business area as well. And there are really
Mm-hmm.
nice LinkedIn learning courses also on storytelling. LinkedIn learning, and definitely from the whole soft skill side, they are quite
Mm-hmm.
strong. If you would ask me to kind of recommend them for more the technical learnings, I maybe would have other preferences. But for
Mm-hmm.
the kind of softer parts, I really really like to use LinkedIn learning.
Nice.
And another recommendation there, I also know that our friends from GDX are mentoring. They have a really nice micro learning on storytelling as well. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that is just the first step to get yourself familiar with the techniques, and then to try
Mm-hmm.
it out with data, honestly. And I think it just needs a lot of practice. You can listen
Yeah.
about it all that you want. Um, and I think it does help with storytelling to just look at how other persons in data science
Mm-hmm.
do it. Known persons also like Cassie Kosikov, ex Googler. But
Mm-hmm.
in the end, you need to just try it out yourselves and see how the business colleagues and the audience kind of reacts to it,
Yeah,
and get feedback.
definitely.
Get feedback.
Because you know you wouldn't have something as um a as an instruction. How would you go with the storytelling about the data? Because every single data is unique, every single case is unique, and pretty much what you have to do in there is all the time to create a wheel.
Yeah.
And you
But
want, I would
I
say.
maybe one advice, right?
Hmm.
Visuals, very nice visuals, never hurt.
Yeah, definitely, people love that. A
Yes.
lot as well. Like it's like, it's like a marketing side of the visuals and plots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And going to back maybe to communication part,
Hmm.
I feel that maybe we can add to this kind of skill is that if you have it, that you can link it with the other soft skills, which are managing the people in terms of when you are working on the project with the other business people like stakeholders, and you can organize that. So you can pretty much pitch the project having these communication skills.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the second part that I wanted to mention is that as a data scientist, you are going to create, a lot of tools. Maybe you're going to create a decision tree that is going to help company to classify some products and check the, I don't know, the client's churn and stuff like that. And going from that part, while creating the tool, you have to always have in the back of your mind that you are going to deliver that to the business side. And that business side, they have to understand how to use it. And again, this is happening via communications. And by having those communications, you can increase the acceptance rate.
Yeah, and time management comes in here as well, because don't underestimate the time is needed to prep a good presentation, to convince the business, to also take the time to enable them, right? That's exactly what you're saying, Kate. It's like with testing and software development, right? Testing actually is the most important thing. And while we do know all about test-driven software development, many people do not really follow it yet and still do testing at the very end when time runs out and I only have 1 day left. Yeah.
Yes,
So
pretty
don't
much do the unit tests.
don't underestimate like the kind of time that is needed also, packaging everything that you've done.
Yes, that is
Rather
true.
take a bit more time, because what from my experience also, right, you want to build a trustful relationship with your business partners and stakeholders, like in all directions, right, with your management, with the management of the business colleagues, with the business colleagues themselves. And this trustful relationship really does take some time, good communication. But it's also a very, say, fragile bond if you just getting started with everything. So you don't want to maybe throw over solutions too early over the fence
Yeah.
and then risk that you kind of lose the interest and the buy-in from the business side, right? I
Yep.
mean, if you've kind of established yourself as a data scientist and have kind of a proven track record with your business colleagues, yeah, I mean, it can take some hits, right? But if you're just starting out, I would say also have a feeling for like when it's the right time to present something and get enough feedback. But also maybe they don't want to listen about or they don't want to see every little small 0.1% improvement.
That is
So
true.
that is also the other side, right? Maybe you could also over communicate. So I
Yes.
would
Yep.
say if you can get also if you're, for example, still in university right now, get as much working experience on the side as you can, because this will prepare you.
Yeah. And honestly, what I also love about, like, since we're talking about the university and the
Hmm.
experience in the universities, is that I remember, like, in my uni days, back at that times, I was really missing that part as the communications and any kind of soft skills that we actually,
Hmm.
I think personally, we had to be taught in there. And I would
Hmm.
say, I know that in Germany, you would have a lot of opportunities to have kind of internships with the companies that would offer you not only having experience at technical stuff, but as well as having a little bit of experience at the communication stuff. So, like, talking with the business side, actually, talking with the stakeholders. And maybe this is something that you would love to try. And I will definitely advise to try that out because in the industry, as a data scientist, people expect you to be kind of good at both, at tech part as well
Hmm.
as at communication part. And this is something that the internships, which are with the focus on the both fields, will help a lot and prepare you kind of to the industry.
Yeah, very, very, very wise words. And shout out to the senior data scientists who also recognize this and give these opportunities to students and to career starters, right? And I think that's the other part, right? We need good mentors and supervisors from the senior data scientist side to also leave some room for errors and yeah,
Yes.
also give a chance and opportunity to career starters.
Yeah, you just like started talking about a senior data scientist, and I remember that. I guess 2 weeks ago, I was doing the master class for the Singapore University, and it was like kind of a furor for the students in there, because I had a phrase on the slide that a senior data scientist is not someone who is guru of math and programming and sitting in the cave coding 8 hours a day. And maybe we have to a little bit I kind of demystify that part of being a senior data scientist, or as well as a team lead of the data science, because honestly, what you will have to do, you have to do a lot of communications again, but not,
I can confirm this.
yes, but not having your playground, I don't know, 80% of your time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a trade off, right? It's about maybe having a bigger lever, bigger impact on one side, but you're definitely trading off something which is the cave experience of just shutting out everyone and coding for
Yes.
2 days straight. Yeah. And both has its benefits and disadvantages. Maybe to come to another thing. I don't even know if it really profiles as a soft skill, to be honest. But for me, being creative is another really important trait of people working
Yes.
in data science. And everyone says, oh, you need to be creative in your job. Yes, but for me, creativity and problem solving is quite interlinked. And it's about also and now kind of bridging the gap, the resilience of not giving up after some failed attempts, right? And still being able to find a good solution. So creativity and resilience and problem solving is for me the triangle of successful data science. See,
Yes.
I got so energized by this discussion.
Yes, I see that. Guys, you definitely have to check out YouTube for the Yasmin's just emotions right now. You would just see that on the face
I'm an
immediately.
Italian by heart. I use my hands a lot.
Yeah, but that is awesome, honestly, and almost your kind of mimics of the face, and I can just immediately see that you got hit by the topic. So pretty much you've just covered at least two interesting aspects: is that resilience to challenge, the first part, and the second part. What was the beginning? Can you please just remind me
Creativity.
quickly? Creativity, yes.
Yes.
No, that is pretty interesting. Maybe I will add to the creativity thing is that a lot of people will be really, I would say, surprised that you would have any kind of art and creative mindset having applied skills and task skills. I mean, for a lot of people, when you are in math, they would say, okay, where is the art in here? Yes, where is that? But actually, you would have a lot of this creativity. I don't know how moments and atmosphere, specifically if you have to, going back to the very first topic, if you have to create this data storytelling. This is something that you have to be definitely creative. Maybe creative going to the second topic at how you deliver the information, because this is also something I guess unique, and you have your own formula for that. And kind of unique and art how you have to pitch and push a little bit the projects to the business side, and definitely creating new algorithms. This is the most funny part, the most creative part. And yeah, that is why I think almost every single data scientist would be love sitting in here her cave for 2 days straight developing
Yes.
something.
And I've heard people saying it wasn't just one person, but people from the industry saying, from the data science industry saying, we should get more into the science part of data science, and maybe reduce a bit the artsy part of data science. And I it's hard for me to just in general agree or disagree with the statement, because I think you have to a bit differentiate. Where I agree with the statement is in the areas of productionization, exactly what we've mentioned in our last episode. When it's about having stable, robust solutions that are integrated well in our productive landscape of systems. Yes, more engineering, please. More science, please. Let's try out and see if it holds up. On the other
Yes.
side, I, you know, I kind of can get this feeling of, yes, let's get more to engineering routines and best practices and, like, the
Mm-hmm.
kind of science driven approach, yes, in data science. But I
Mm-hmm.
still see that you need, like, the best and the elegant solutions. Really, they do have a big part of creativity and trying out, and also a bit of trial and error. For me, that's just
Mm-hmm.
still part of data science. Maybe this changes at some point, the more
Mm-hmm.
also automation and tools are introduced into,
Mm-hmm.
into data science. The more we also have automated machine learning. Maybe we also do an episode on the topic of, like, how
Mm-hmm.
is data science changing with AI coming more and more to this field.
Yes, yes,
But for
maybe.
me, still, like, the as you said, creative problem solving is at the core of good solutions as well.
Yeah, for me, the like, maybe I would add to this point is that perhaps it is a little bit different depending on which industry you're at and
Hmm.
which department. Uh, I just like, got a thought that perhaps that is why I love like, R&D departments because in the R&D, you're doing just creating things. So in the R&D, they expect you to create new stuff, but not using like, state of art algorithms or something like that. In there, you just like have like this kind of like fully creation mode. And like in the
Hmm.
ML part, I mean.
Yeah, and we're sorry if corporate Kate and corporate Yasmin are just throwing around abbreviations. So R&D, by this we mean here research and development departments.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I thought everyone knows that. Yes.
Yes, I do hope so, but just wanna make sure that we don't exclude
Yes.
anyone here from listening to the podcast. And if you ever hear any abbreviations that are
Uh-huh.
unfamiliar, just drop us a comment and get in
Mm-hmm.
touch with us.
Yeah, because our yes, yeah, definitely. I totally forgot
It
about
it
that.
does happen quite unconsciously. Yes.
Yeah. The next topic that I propose to discuss a little bit is that you've already mentioned is the resilience to challenge. And I think it's one of the main, yeah, for me at least, it's one of the main skills that you would have not as a data scientist, but
As a
person,
person, or
as a
as a
tech
person
person.
general, kind of.
No, just tech
Hmm.
person in the
Okay.
IT departments. Uh, I think because pretty much as we stated in the second episode, you would need to have this problem solving skills. And
Hmm.
pretty much all the time when you have a task, as a data scientist, it is going to be something new every single time. At least it has been like for me. With every single task, with every single process, with every single stakeholder, things happen to be different.
Hmm.
And even though that, I don't know, you have some knowledges from the universities, from the previous projects, from your team that you're working with currently, you will still need to have a little bit of the, this kind of energy, eager to go ahead and challenge yourself. And by this I mean that if you would have any challenges, pretty much you have to be resilient to them.
Yeah. So
So,
how do you build resilience, Kate? So how does this work for you? Was this something that
mhm.
you've kind of actively acquired, or were you surprised yourself, like, um, kind of observing
No.
that you are more resilient than you thought? So if someone is now
Uh-huh.
wanting to know how can I build up resilience, and I guess there are whole books on this topic, but, like, what does work for you?
Um, that is hard and at the same very easy question for me because you know why? Because for me it comes very naturally. I'm like that since my childhood, and I guess I've been like that since I was born or
Hmm.
something like that. All the time when I do have a problem, I got furious. I got a lot of energy because of that. And I got furious only because I want to solve that because I don't like problems. So, and this is the first part. And the second part is that I'm really curious. And all the
Hmm.
time when I have something that for some reasons I cannot handle with, or for some reasons I cannot solve, I got in this, I would say, very child behavior state. where I want to solve it, no matter what. I'm going to do this like for the next, I don't know, like whatever, 2 hours, 7 hours, 2 weeks, but I will solve it. I
Mhm.
have this, this kind of competition with myself. And yeah, that,
That's the
that is,
only
that is,
competition that is positive.
yes, yes, yeah, true. Uh, and I guess we all kind of saw that interesting pictures on Instagram or I don't know, maybe TikTok about a data scientist who is just has a problem and he or she they have to solve it immediately. And that is why like they are somewhere sitting at the room while like other people are partying and trying to solve the bug in the machine learning algorithm. This
Let's
is what
find
I
that
love.
meme on the internet and add this to the episode
Yes,
description.
I
Yeah.
really hope so
No,
that we
no,
can just.
I think the image just like plays out in my head. Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that
So
is why.
okay,
Yeah.
like, very good for you, Kate. I must say for me, um, it was a bit more of also a learning. I have to
Mm,
say, and for me, um, maybe this also is a bit of like something that could help some of the audience as well to try it out. Um, when I'm getting frustrated with like as you said, like something is not
mm-hmm,
working as it should, and I just feel okay, my frustration tolerance has been really hit now and is at its limit. I try to see like the positive in it. So what is the learning opportunity for me? And also sometimes if it's like really bad, what are the things that I can be grateful for? And then just remind also yourself, if
mm-hmm.
if this doesn't work out right now, it's not the end of the world. There are, there's a lot of things that you can probably be very much grateful for, and just trying to take a step back, relax a bit. And sometimes it also helps just to, at this point, if you can, you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to deliver like to a deadline, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
shut down the laptop, and next morning, or during the night, sometimes I solve problems during the night.
Yes.
And it's just I wake up and it's like super clear to me, and I can't understand how this doesn't, how this didn't come to me yesterday,
Yes.
and I just have the solution in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that is resilience as well, knowing when you can take a step back in order to attack again. um so this is sometimes what works for me, as well as just doing some sports. I think also that the
Mm-hmm.
regular working out and exercising does build up resilience as well a lot, because just your frustration tolerance gets
Yes.
exceeded and gets shifted a bit. And yeah,
Yeah.
so these are things that are working for me quite well.
I must say that it's really wise. It's really
That's why,
wise.
Kate. That's why, because like I'm 1 year older. That's the wisdom. No, just kidding. No, I think different things are working, and I mean, would have loved to
Yes.
be naturally more resilient as you, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think a part of is definitely a part of your genes, and I think another part that you can really learn.
Yes. And I think honestly that for today, we're pretty much done with the soft skills as communications, as resilience to challenge, as being creative, as develop this data storytelling, as developing your own kind of unique formula, how you're going to deliver results. And I think that is all for today. Thank you very much for listening. It was Yasmin and Kate from Diaries of a Data Scientist. And it was our third episode. Again, we are live on YouTube, so you can check out our kind of, emotions, especially Yasmin's emotions when she got hit by the topic. That was awesome. And yeah, thank you and see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.